Good morning, guys. Welcome to iPunt Smart. Racing from Greyville Polytrack today, and conditions are standard. No rain in the last 24 hours and 7.5 millimeters in the last 7 days. A 30-kilometer north-northeast wind. And we start off with our only greenie for the day in the first, Dabazita, which now also has blinkers fitted. Has the 1.5 kilo claim from Rachel Vinegar, and does look pretty decent on the claim. On his bomb roll, best average merit rating adjusted lengths behind on 42 days, 84 168 days, as well as his bat adjusted time. You can see he's also the line horse here. His last 1400 Greyville Poly is 6.29 bat, and the 1000 meters was a 4.76. So I take it the 1200 will be in somewhere between the 4.7 and the 6.2. And if we do get something between the 4.7 and the 6.2, then he'll be pretty hard to beat. Lady Chocolate on his one run on the 1200 Greyville Poly had a 10.07 on the bat figures. That's the second choice. He had 10-1 as a cover. Third is Geronimo. Fourth, King Spear. And then only the actual favorite, which is McCartney, coming from a very long break. The last time ran was the 24th of July, and this was all just turf form. No poly, yes, all just turf. So yeah, it will be interesting to find out if he's that good. Maybe he is, but not seen enough to make him a 12-10 favorite in my opinion. And last time Keegan and Miller was on board on the 1200 Greyville was third. So I'm going to go with the green in Dabazita, Lady Chocolate, Geronimo, King Spear, and then McCartney. In the second race, I think it's a two-horse race between Corsican and Johnny's Hope. Now, if I purely look at bat figures, then we do see Johnny's Hope. The 10.05 is obviously much better than the 18.12 of Corsican. But in Corsican's favor is the fact that they made a huge jump from the 1200 to the 1700. So maybe there was a little bit more in the tank. They didn't know what to expect on that one run that they went up. Johnny's Hope is probably know what you're getting by now, because it did the 1600 poly and the 1700 poly in pretty much the same 10.4 and 10.05. So I think those two are the two horses that should be running for the win. And then Imaginable does take on the 17 for the first time from a 1400. It goes up to the 1700. If I look at the adjusted time, 60.8 carrying 57, then Corsican 16.58 carrying 57, and Johnny's Hope 60.7 carrying 60. Over the 1700 longer distance is still better than Imaginable for that matter, so I'm going to stick with Corsican, Johnny's Hope, and Imaginable. The third race, very interesting race here for me, because Oh My Word It's Roy comes up as top rated with 48 kilos on the back, and does have some hidden 84-day bat form, 168 days, and the bat curve, the consistency curve, after Miss Missouri was scratched, is now 12.34 better off than Lord Minver, which is only runner for Cole Hewitson with Serena Moodley on board. Others to consider is probably High Green, Raven, Sword, and Fever, as well as Glenn Cotson. Could be anything Osceola, that is coming back to the 1700 Greyville Poly. Yeah, it has won over the 2400 turf, so it's dropping back to the 1700 again. But yeah, I'm going to go with Oh My Word It's Roy, the one red horse, followed by Lord Minver, the other red horse, red because the merit rating has been played with. If you can see what I mean, Oh My Word It's Roy was a 66 merit rating and has most recently jumped off today off of 49, and on top of that gets the 4 kilo Appy claim, and we all know that horses doesn't really lose that much form. You can't be that terrible a trainer to drop the horse's merit rating by that much, but yeah, something unfortunately that's happening. Lord Minver here does have the line bat horse, 3.36, 1900 Greyville Polly with King in the Miller on board. Interesting to note that Serena Moodley is taking the ride today, so that will be my second choice here. Others to consider: Gary Rich with High Green on Kachetti, taking the 2.5 kilos off. Does have the exact course and distance, 8.5 years bat CD. Exact course, exact distance, that's why the purple ones. And then Raven Sword Whitehead. Wendy Whitehead looks to have quite a few runners that has some sort of a chance today, so that will also be in the quartets, and then the Fever and Osceola, like I mentioned earlier. In the fourth race, first choice goes to Winter with Joe, another red horse, followed by Maximus as my second choice, and then probably a match between Global Dollar and Pewter Sky as then fourth, with Metallic Gold and Kimura. Now, why I went with Winter with Joe, it's got a couple of things going for it. It's third run after a rest. You see that little green man from a rest running. The last run was his best, 7.32, which was also the best for the exact course and distance. It was also the line bat horse, and it's been dropping in merit rating quite a bit, from an 89 now to a 79. And Kachetti has a 44% win and a 22% place record with Muscat. So I'm going to say Winter with Joe is my first choice here. Maximus, my second choice. And you can see, based on that 1400 Greyville Polly, the purple runs 1866 versus a 732. You know which one's the better one. So that will be my second choice. And then Pewter Sky and Global Dollar as the third and the fourth choice. Fifth race. Yeah, bit of a tough one for me to decide between Firu Star and Giambattista as my first choice. Firu Star is the bat curve, the consistency curve of the last 8 months, has 4.51 lengths on the field on that consistency, but his best bat CD of 6.3 is 3 lengths worse than Giambattista, and Giambattista has that bat 42 days of 3 lengths better. Bat 84 days and 168 days has the best adjusted time, the best greenie points. So I think between Ferrostar and Giambattista, that's first choice for me. A lot of support last time for Giambattista, from 70 to 4.5 when it actually won, but now it lost its jockey. Richard Fourie gone. Kagiso Matsanyane is on board, and potentially with that Richard Fourie being gone, that 3.16 is also gone. So that's why I ended up going with the consistency for Magudalwa again. Did win last time, 1400 Greyville Polly, has been improving. Did only get a 1 point merit rating for the win, and still at a really nice price of 12 to 1 at the moment. So I'm going to go with Ferrostar and Giambattista here, and if one of those two doesn't win, then it's pretty open. Gentleman's Way, Cupid's Song, Forest Jump, Spy Master, Patronage. In the sixth race, and this is the red horses again popping up here, Shell Seeker, Blush of Dawn and Flying the Star. I ended up going with Blush of Dawn as my slight personal favorite, although Birdwatcher is IPS's first choice here, with Shell Seeker the third choice, and then Meteoric and Flying the Star. The reason being, well, Garth Puller, Joker because owned and trained by Mr. Puller here. Does get Serena Moodley on board today, which is really interesting because it's only been having Rai Talenga Magudalwa previously, and has sufficiently dropped its supposedly loss of form now from an 88 merit rating to a 66 merit rating, giving it an additional 12 merit rating points, or 11 kilos to play with, and returns from a rest. Now, previous time it returned from a rest, you can see the 14th of February to the 2nd of May. It did return on the 1200 Greyville Polly, and it ran a very nice 7.07 on the bat figures. So Blush of Dawn is a nice little each way for me at 25 or 30 or wherever it is at the moment. Followed by Birdwatcher for Duncan Howells with Khumalo booked for the ride. The reason why I swapped those two around was the two tries on the 1200 Greyville Poly was both terrible, a 9th and a 7th. One of them with Khumalo on board went back in from 8 into 5, so it's a bit of an underperformer as far as that's concerned. It did run a 2.7 and a 4.01 on its very last two runs. On the 1400 Greyville Poly, dropping off now to the 1200, and you can see the Shell Seeker collateral form on a 0926 here, ran second and third. Now Birdwatcher's half kilos better off and Shell Seeker's a full kilo better off, and it was only a 0.05 lengths between them. So Shell Seeker now with the Melo again and Birdwatcher with Khumalo again is very close to each other. But saying that, this Blush of Dawn 7.07 and the fact that it also had a 6.06 here, and the fact that it's 25 to 1 is a nice little value for me for the old timer. You can see the old timer here is older than the field average. Owner trainer Garth Puller, Blush of Dawn. Then if one of those three does not win, really becomes very tough because the rest is very close together as far as Flying the Star and Meteoric is concerned, and then Not Now Pussycat and Cape Diamond. Anything can happen with these Badra and Noble Storm. You see there's no data on the 42 days, 84 days, so yeah, it could come back and surprise all of us. I don't like those question marks. In the 7th race, Mr. Gary Rich seems to have quite a strong hand here as far as Corner Crusade and Arctic Princess. Slight favorite for me is on Corner Crusade. Reason being, if you look at the blue purple 1200 Poly, Greyville Poly, 707 and 645, both of them slightly better than the 9.1, even though Arctic Princess last 1400 was a 5.03 or 13, which made it the line bat horse. So I'm going to go with Corner Crusade, but I do have respect for Arctic Princess as well, also with the fact that it's got a flame here. When it came back from a rest the previous time, it did run very well. So definitely have to respect it. And then on the 42-day bat form, if I just click on the 42-day here, you'll see that Second Breath is actually 5 lengths better than second on Corner Crusade here. And even on the 84 days, Second Breath, Arctic Princess and Corner Crusade, the first three. So for me, those are the first three. There's question marks on Girl of Tregunter, coming from a rest with some flashing year and the best speed rating, and also the red horse Toto, that's also returning from a long rest with the gear change, Alamite blinkers now to Alamites, best on medium speed or pace. So and then Boldly Goes the favorite. So tough little race this, but Gary Rich has the strongest hand in my opinion, but I reckon put as many as you can in this race. Moving on to the 8th race, very little between Morgan Le Fay, Bonnie Bush and Give Me a Lullaby, and even Aisling and Kelly's Fate. I think those 5 you all have to put into your quartets. Reason why I ended up with Give Me a Lullaby as my own personal preference here was purely because I don't have much question marks as far as Give Me the Lullaby's 1200 form. You see the 8.35 and the 11.18. On the last one, when it did win with Mr. Magudalwa on board, lost terribly lot in the merit rating from a 74 to a 53 and got 3 extra when it won the last time, which wasn't a bad penalty, and kept its rider Magudalwa, and it seemed to have had more in the tank, judging on its backing in of 16 to 1 into 5.5 to 1. Clearly it never lost the form, it was just hidden away from 74 to 53 to get it into the range to hit again. Morgan Le Fay's question mark for me is very much the distance side, because it's done very well on the 1000 Poly with 8, 5 and 0 here, and even that 1000 Poly with an 8. The moment it went further, then it also started the problem. That was on the turf, and it wasn't a mini feature, so maybe excused for that one. And Calvin Habib's last 3 rides was pretty decent, 0.8, 5.1, 8.2. Does make it the IPS first choice, but yeah, me as the editor has a slight little preference for Give Me a Lullaby. And then Body Bush, when it went to the 1100, it improved on to 3.3 on the bat figure, and that's I have to respect, even though it was at 33 to 1. So if it goes up and improve a little bit more over the 1200, then it could also be a runner with the gear change. So Give Me a Lullaby, Morgan Le Fay, Bonnie Bush. Others to consider is the Red Horse Kum Naidu and Kagiso Matsunyane, another horse that miraculously lost all its form from an 87 to a 68. That's 19 merit rating points, or 9.5 kilos. Quite ridiculous that they allow it, but that is the fact of the problem that we deal with. And that 8 was a really good purple bat, so have to have respect for that. And also popped here, even though very erratic, there's a 7.95 when the needle was perhaps very deep, 7.95 with a lot of much worse around it. So yeah, if the needle's in, then he can have a chance. Not really much else. Kala Nzinzi as decent enough to be competitive in the quartet area. Aisling, I've just said, yeah, it's got some really decent figures there. Body Bush, Morgan Le Fay, Give Me a Lullaby, and also Killy's Fate. Rachel Vinegar's back again, and the Rachel Vinegar 11 and 9 on the bat figures here. It's better than the Sakai's 1505 on its last run. So maybe Killy's Fate is also in here. So just to recap, Give Me a Lullaby, yeah, Aisling, Morgan Le Fay, Bonnie Bush, Killy's Fate, in that order, with Shaken Not Stirred question marks. So the greenie has to be my best bet for the day. Tabazita with the backup of Lady Chocolate and maybe Geronimo. If I look at the JTR detail, if there's any standouts here, 2.32 average, 2.6, yeah, 1.73, 1.82. So the first two, which is Corsican and Johnny's Hope, then quite a gap to the next, yeah, 2.9, 3.1. So that is our 33 to 1 Omar Wordich Roy, followed by High Green, followed by Lord Minver and Raven Sword. In the fourth, yeah, not much difference either here. Maximius, Winter with Joe, Pewter Sky, Kimura, race 5. Not much. Giambattista with Gentleman's Way, Forest Jump, Cupid's Song, and Feru Star. Race 6, not a nice big gap here either. Birdwatchers, Shell Seeker, Meteoric, and Blush of Dawn. And even this 3.8 here for Flying the Star. Race 7, Corner Crusade, the Rich and the Other Rich, Arctic Princess, Second Breath, Boldly Go, Star Choice, Toto, the Red Horse, and then the last 248, Morgan Le Fay, and then Give Me a Lullaby 3.4, Bon Bush 3.43, Aisling 3.59, and even Killy's Fate 3.7, and then a big gap to 5s. So that's it on the JTR combo. Let's look at the stories today. Let's just see from the trainer's perspective probably first. You can see here Garth Puller with Magudalwa on Corsican and Feru Star maybe. Here Gary Rich on High Green, and there on Corner Crusade. Looks like a potential options on the doubles. Yeah, here's another one with Puller, Blush of Dawn, and Feru Star, and now Magnum Martyr to a lesser extent. See if there's anything else. Anyway, this will populate as the day goes on. You see a Whitehead as well. I've got a Giambattista and a Morgan Le Fay, and watch this one, Raven Sword, and even there Geronimo. So yeah, interesting day of racing. Hope you find it profitable, and have a great day. far as the probability stats is concerned, also in the form of Ndabazita, highest for the day, 40% chance to win on form based on 105 previous races being analyzed. Have a great day.